and welcome to the Actual Tech Media MegaCast. My name is Jess, and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information to cover with you. Let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. Now, if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Also, keep in mind that if you have any tech issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you. So throughout today's MegaCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all of your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. And if we do not get to your question during the webinar, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us today will be following up with you after we wrap. All right, next up on our tour, there are going to be lots of cool aha moments in the MegaCast today, and if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's MegaCast will automatically get added to your post. And our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the Handouts tab for some resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection of solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. And if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes we will be giving away throughout the MegaCast today. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. You do need to be in attendance here live at the webinar in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all winners after we wrap the MegaCast today. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, hey, if you're not sure what those are, no problem. You can find the full T's and C's in that Handouts tab. Again, just click into the Handouts section, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find the full T's and C's waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember here today is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. In today's MegaCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all the questions asked after the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about winning, and we will get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the MegaCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going. So let's connect on social. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content right away after we wrap, you want to jump right in, make sure that you subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and to grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you're going to find a link to do that right there in that Handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected after we wrap today. Now, both you and your coworker, your friend, could win a prize, and we actually hold those drawings every month. So be sure you refer somebody awesome before you head out today. It could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your Handouts tab and fill out the application. Then the Actual Tech crew will match you with some vendors that we think you should be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you can choose to join in, like surveys or test running new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you will learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker in your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, how to prevent and recover. The site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. So go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books are going to work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and they are completely free, super easy. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in the handouts tab as well. Okay, well, we've covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get rolling. All right. It's time to get into the good stuff. I hope you are all pumped up and ready. You got your coffee, you're awake, and you are ready to jump in, because today we are talking about fixing your broken data protection and disaster recovery processes and systems. Okay, so likely if you have joined us today, it's because hopefully not all, some of your data protection and DR processes or systems are broken. Maybe they're out of date, they're not functioning as you hoped, or maybe you just want to get ahead of the curve and stop trouble before it happens. So whatever brings you to our virtual table today, I'm glad you're here. And we will also be joined by top industry experts from TierPoint, Zerto, and Rubrik. We are going to learn some things. We're going to get into some questions, have a great discussion, and explore these solutions. It is going to be an awesome day. I cannot wait to get started. So let's dive right in. I will reintroduce myself if I have not met you already. I'm Jess Steinbach. I'm a moderator here at Actual Tech Media, and my fellow moderators, Scott Becker and Keith Ward, will be here with us on live chat today. And we're going to have a special guest appearance from a familiar face that some of you will remember from our MegaCast, EcoCast summits, and I'll introduce him in just a second. But first, let's talk about prizes. Today on the MegaCast, you could win one of 3 new M2 iPad Pros plus a $300 Amazon gift card that we're going to be giving away every 30 minutes. That's so many prizes, so many cool things coming at you. Now, I will remind you again that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast in order to win. And if you have any questions about those T's and C's, don't forget that all of them are listed for you in the handouts tab. All right, well, with that, we are ready to get rolling on our day here. I know that you guys are all pretty excited to dive in, and so am I. And I'm even more pumped up about our keynote speaker, because it is, of course, the one and only David Davis, one of our wonderful moderators here at Actual Tech Media, and now also an author, blogger, speaker, veteran IT pro, 14 times V expert, VCP, VCAP, CCIE, and AWS certified. Folks, that is not even his full list of credentials. I asked David to list all of his letters once, all of his certificates and possible credentials. And it took him, I timed it, 30 seconds. It was a minute, 30 seconds just to list the number of credentials that he has behind his name. He is an incredible expert speaker, and we're always so happy to have him here on a MegaCast to kick things off. So with all of that said, I will let David tell you what he's going to be chatting with you about today, and I'll hand things on over. David, the many-lettered David Davis, I'm going to hand things on over to you. Take it away.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited about this MegaCast. This is a hot topic affecting so many companies out there, fixing your broken data protection and disaster recovery. My name is David Davis, and I'm excited to be on the MegaCast today. And when it came time to consider today's topic, I was thinking, how could I best help set up this event? How could I best help these excellent IT professionals on the MegaCast today to fix their broken data protection and DR? And what I did was come up with 10 questions that you need to ask, perhaps yourself or perhaps the expert presenters on the MegaCast, in order to make the most out of this process, in order to ensure that you fix 100% of your broken data protection and DR, because there's nothing to be ashamed of. All of us have at least one or multiple pieces of our data protection and disaster recovery solution broken in some way. So with that, let's kick it off with the first question, which is all about recovery. And that is, what is your current RPO and RTO? Can you answer that question? How confident do you feel when it comes to answering that question? And if you don't have a tool to help you answer that question quickly and confidently, then I encourage you to talk to today's expert presenters and try to find one, because that is probably the most critical question that you can ask. And again, that's another reason that it's number one. And then our second question here revolves all around today's topic. That is, what data protection and DR tools are currently in use at your company, and are they fully updated and supported? In other words, how confident and capable are you when it comes to your data protection and DR tools in the toolbox? Are there features that you're not using? Are there features that you should be using? Do you feel that those tools are aging or legacy? And are they still being innovated and updated and supported by the vendor? All great questions to consider. And the next question is all your critical data really being backed up and protected in your DR and recovery process? Can you really restore it? And does it really work once it's restored? I hope that you can answer all these questions, and if not, make sure that you're looking for some tools on the MegaCast today that can help out. And then, when was the last successful disaster recovery drill or test conducted, and what were the results? Did it fail or did it work? And have you looked at tools that can perform automated testing? Because regular testing is critical to ensure that your DR plan and your data protection tools are really working 100% of the time. And then what about the integrity of the backup data? It's one thing to be able to say you can restore it, but once it's restored, does it have integrity? In other words, has it been infected by ransomware? Does it actually work? Will your applications run? These are all questions you need to be prepared to answer, and you can only answer them confidently if you've performed testing. And then next up, do you have a documented disaster recovery plan? And are the stakeholders, meaning the people who will be executing that plan, really trained on their roles? And will they be able to execute that plan should a disaster occur? And what about backup personnel? In many cases, if there is a disaster, the primary person is out of town or can't get to a computer. That disaster recovery plan needs to be executed by anyone at your company who has the authority to do so. And then it's always important to ask, are you meeting your compliance requirements with your industry and business regulations and with government regulations? How long are your backups being retained? Do you even know what the retentions should be in order to meet your compliance requirements? These are all important questions to ask. And oh yeah, what about testing? When was the last time you tested to make sure you can really get back that data that, let's say, has a 5-year retention period? And then where are the backups being physically stored, and are they sufficiently protected? Are they in the cloud? Are they offsite in a big mountain? Where is your company's physical data, especially that data that's being stored offsite? And can you rapidly get that data back? And oh yeah, does the backup medium still have integrity in order to restore your data successfully? And then next up, the big question of the day: is your data protection solution really protected against cyber threats? Is it really isolated from the main network? Or could your backup repository be infected with ransomware? Could that data be exfiltrated? And how would you even know? These are hot topics, because companies left and right are being hit with ransomware and malicious attacks and data exfiltration, and it's truly awful. So make sure that whatever data protection and DR solution you're using is truly protecting your company's data from these awful and malicious attacks. And then moving on, last and final question, and that is, how often is your disaster recovery strategy reviewed and updated to accommodate the changes in the business or the IT infrastructure? Because let's face it, our business needs and our IT infrastructure and our applications, they're constantly changing. And that disaster recovery plan and the strategy for protecting your company's data needs to be also changing and evolving to meet the needs of the business. So make sure that you ask, how flexible is this disaster recovery solution? How would we go about making changes? How would we go about documenting these changes? All great questions to consider. And with that, I want to say a big thank you. Thank you for listening to me for a few minutes here at the start of the MegaCast. I hope that some of these questions that I've asked will be helpful to you in fixing your broken disaster recovery and data protection solution. Do whatever you can do to protect your company's critical data. And I hope that you can use some of these questions to go back and chat with your fellow IT professionals at your company, and also use these questions to learn more about the innovative solutions on the MegaCast today from our expert presenters. Thanks for having me on, and enjoy the MegaCast.
Well, thanks, David. Always a pleasure to have you here, and what a great way to kind of start out the day, because I think a lot of times we have the questions in mind that we want to ask, and then maybe there's some questions that we didn't know we needed to ask, or that we didn't know we wanted to ask. So I think that's a great way to start out the day, is with a bunch of questions. Speaking of which, unintentional segue, I have a question for all of you. I'm wondering, what is your time frame for making some of the changes that we're going to be talking about today? So, are you in an urgent state where everything's seriously broken and on fire and you need to make a change right away? Or are you thinking a little longer term? You're thinking more updates and optimization and that longer term kind of planning. Again, no wrong answers here. This is just us making sure that we're hitting you with the right information when you need it. So click on the poll, let us know what kind of time frame you're at, and we'll make sure we keep feeding you the right info as you go through your own personal journeys, tech journeys. All right. Well, I am going to keep things moving. So last chance to click on the poll here, and then we're going to jump into our first session of the day. And as you can see, we are definitely starting out on a great note. We have a powerhouse team here to kick us off. We are going to be chatting with TierPoint and Zerto. I am so excited to introduce you all to our first expert speakers here on the MegaCast today, and that is Bob Brown, Lead Solutions Engineer at TierPoint, and Sarah Doherty, Product Marketing Manager at Zerto. Sarah and Bob, thank you so much for being here to kick us off today. I can't wait to hear what you've got in store for us. We've got a lot of info. I know we want to leave time for questions. Anthony's going to be joining us, another familiar face here on the MegaCast, for some questions at the end. So lots to do, lots to cover. Let's dive right into it. Sarah, I'm going to hand things on over to you. Take it away.
Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Sarah Doherty. I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager here at Zerto. And today I will be co-presenting with Bob Brown, who is a Lead Solutions Engineer Recovery Services at TierPoint. Today we'll be discussing fixing your broken data protection and disaster recovery processes and systems. As you can see on here, there's a lot of challenges. Companies share the same pain points when it comes to disaster recovery. Ransomware is now a C-level initiative. Disruptions that cause downtime, data loss, and lack of DR testing have also become issues. The complexity of ever-growing and changing infrastructure is on the top of mind of a lot of companies. And lastly, capital expenditure, especially with the need for companies to move data to, in, and out of the cloud. All of these disaster recovery challenges have one common theme. They all come at a high cost. Let me give you some background. Who is Zerto and what do we do? We provide continuous availability by protecting, recovering, and moving data and applications across on-premises, hybrid, and multi-cloud environments. For some more background, Zerto has been building a global business since 2009 with over 2,000 partners, including strategic partnerships and alliances. We became part of HPE in 2021 with full support to grow our business with more resources and a larger sales force. We currently serve over 9,500 customers across all industries in over 100 plus countries. When it comes to recovery time and downtime, daily backups just won't cut it. While there is certainly a time and place for backup solutions, when you're talking about mission critical applications and having to deal with RPOs of an entire day and RTOs of 8 hours, the business impacts of being down that long are, of course, significant. The average cost of downtime can be $250,000 per hour, which would give you an $8 million impact. What you're going to want instead is a tried and true disaster recovery solution like Zerto. We can actually get your RPOs down to seconds, and that's right, just seconds, and get your RTOs down to a mere minutes. You can pick a checkpoint that's just 5 or 15 seconds prior to the incident, then roll back within a few minutes to pick up right where you were or where your application left off. And it's important to keep in mind that those single-digit RPOs have real-world implications. When your RPO and RTO are measured in hours, every single outage ends up costing much more than it has to, from a potential $8 million hit with your backup solution to $42,000 with Zerto. I don't think I really have to say more than that. And how are we able to achieve these super low RPOs and RTOs is with our technology and our key differentiators that Zerto brings compared to everyone else in the market. First is our hypervisor-based replication that is native and agentless to ensure continuous data protection for businesses. Second is the unique journaling technology to ensure you can recover and resume from any point in time from seconds to years. Third, we ensure your applications are moved or recover as one entity, so it's about application consistency. Cloud mobility. Zerto brings scale-out architecture built for the enterprise. Lastly, it's simplicity. It's at the core to everything we do. Simplicity of deployment, ease of use, built-in orchestration, and analytics. Let's start with continuous data protection, made possible with Zerto's block-level replication, near-synchronous replication, the best of both synchronous and asynchronous approaches. Because we sit at the hypervisor level, we can be a fully software-only solution that is totally independent of the underlying hardware and infrastructure, including storage. Zerto works well across hypervisors, clouds, and platforms in the background without impacting production. The continuous work in the background is completely hands-off for you. No dealing with backup windows or creating schedules. No managing snapshots or dealing with agents. You simply set it up, replicate, and it stays always on to keep you up and always running. Part of what makes CDP with Zerto so powerful is the unique journaling capabilities. The Zerto journal tracks every single change made in your application or on your server, and it logs these as checkpoints every 5 or 10 seconds, even when you have hundreds or thousands of servers. It can store the change data for 1 hour up to 30 days, and it offers you unmatched granularity when it comes to recovery. So if you get hit with a ransomware attack, for example, at 10 a.m., it's very easy to roll back to 9:59 and 55 seconds and completely mitigate the infection. Legacy data protection makes it more difficult for IT teams like yours by offering restore points from very inconsistent points in time, extending RTO and complicating recovery. Zerto, on the other hand, solves for this. We solve for the challenge of recovering complex enterprise apps by protecting your workloads as a cohesive, logical entity. This eliminates the inconsistent recovery of multi-VM applications where each VM is being restored to a different point in time. And this is more than just bundling VMs together as a group to help with management. With Zerto, when creating recovery points, all the VMs will share the same validated checkpoint with right order fidelity across all. What this means is that when the application is recovered, every VM that makes up the application spins up from that same cross VM recovery point. All these can come up together in the boot order of your choice without any extra work on your part. The bottom line here is that this allows you to protect and recover complex multi-VM applications together as one unit to the exact same point in time. Again, exact same point in time, all while allowing you to save resources when you're trying to reduce the amount of time dedicated to recovery. I just wanted to show a screenshot. It's of our Zerto dashboard for easy failover, failback, and non-disruptive tests. If you look at this, You can see how easy it is. One way to demonstrate Zerto's orchestration and automation is with failover testing. As I showed in the last slide, that was the dashboard, and I scrolled through to show how easy it really is. You're reducing testing time, complexity involved, and tests often incomprehensibly. I can't say that enough. DR testing is critical. One example is from an insurance company who used to have extensive runbooks and lengthy DR exercises. With Zerto, they've reduced that by 98% and taken a complicated 3.5 day process down to only a couple hours. They're just one of many customers who realize value every day from our non-disruptive testing and the fast RTOs that we provide. Our differentiators are simple. We get your business back up and running in minutes with only seconds of data loss, all with the flexibility to test without disruption. Again, I'm going to highlight disaster recovery testing is critical, and it must be done, and it must be done in a timely manner. TierPoint can help you achieve your goals with our Zerto CDP solution. Bob will explain a little bit more detail, but you really want to focus on testing and how important it is in your DR processes. We recently launched our newest and most innovative version of Zerto yet, Zerto 10. Building on our already best-in-class data protection capabilities, Zerto 10 now delivers real-time ransomware detection to pinpoint and mitigate the earliest stages of a cyber attack. Be sure to work with your TierPoint team as Zerto 10 becomes available. What I'd like to do now is I'd like to pass it over to Bob from TierPoint, who can go into a little bit more about our solutions and how we work together. Take it away, Bob.
Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate everybody joining us today. So as Sarah mentioned, my name is Bob Brown, and I'm a lead solutions engineer with TierPoint with a focus on disaster recovery. I'll be going over how TierPoint and Zerto partner together to bring you an industry-leading disaster recovery as a service solution. For those of you who may not be familiar with TierPoint, I want to take a few minutes and give you a quick overview of our company. TierPoint operates 40 data centers across the United States that are all interconnected with fiber, offering speeds of up to 100 gigabits per second. All of our data centers can provide connectivity to our hyperscale cloud providers with a very low latency as well. With the geographic diversity of our data centers, we can provide a recovery solution that meets your auditor's requirements, is located outside of any natural or weather event that could affect your production site, and provide a DR site that is on a separate power grid from your primary location. So beyond our co-location data center services, TierPoint also provides a wide variety of services to our clients to help them meet their IT and business requirements. TierPoint offers customized cloud solutions using our multi-tenant cloud, which is available in 8 of our data centers across the United States. We also have a host of private cloud solutions that are going to be built on dedicated hardware to customer-specific requirements, and those can be put in any of our data centers. And we also have public cloud services that we can offer within AWS and Azure. For customers that are running IBM power systems and mainframes, we offer solutions for both production and disaster recovery services on these platforms. We have a full suite of security services that can be wrapped around any of our managed solutions. And TierPoint also provides consulting and professional services to our customers across the full portfolio of our solutions, including assistance with business impact analysis to assist our customers with their disaster recovery planning. Whether you're looking to deploy a new disaster recovery solution or enhance the solution that you might currently have, choosing the right partner is going to be a key decision. TierPoint and Zerto have a long-standing partnership on providing industry-leading solutions, helping customers increase their resiliency. TierPoint was Zerto's Growth Partner of the Year in 2020 and has been their Managed Services Partner of the Year for the past 3 years. So why would you want to pick TierPoint to help with your disaster recovery services? Well, we have teams of trained professionals to support you in the event of a disaster. With years of experience in recovery and testing our customers' environments, you can be assured that your recovery needs are going to be in good hands. As one of the leading disaster recovery providers, our teams have experience to provide you a seamless implementation process and ensure that all the critical business needs are being met. TierPoint offers multiple solutions for your cloud-based recovery based upon the size and compliance requirements of your business. These will include all OpEx-based solutions to minimize the capital outlay in building a disaster recovery solution. Now we'll talk a little bit more about the actual services being provided by TierPoint. All of our solutions are going to be built on enterprise-class hardware. The disaster recovery targets will typically be one of our multi-tenant cloud pods, a hosted private cloud solution managed by TierPoint, or we can also use AWS and Azure as recovery targets as well. For the hosted private cloud and multi-tenant cloud solutions, those are always going to be built to N+1 specifications. This is a warm site solution. We're not pulling out hardware when you declare a disaster and having to configure it. Utilizing Zerto as the data mover, your data is waiting in the target DR environment to be promoted and recover the VMs. We provide an industry-leading SLA-backed recovery time objective of 10 VMs being recovered every 15 minutes. Now, this is just the SLA. Your environment's going to probably come up much faster than this. This is a subscription-based DR service, meaning that your service is all-inclusive of the Zerto licensing, the compute that you'll need, meaning the vCPU and RAM for the environment. The target storage will be sized based upon the length of journal that you require, and then the replication bandwidth and a management option. Now, TierPoint offers a self-managed option for customers who want to manage their recoveries internally, and a fully managed option where TierPoint personnel will take care of the entire recovery for you, allowing your teams to focus on getting that production environment back up and operating. Now, as Sarah mentioned earlier, testing is a key component of any successful disaster recovery program. Testing at least annually allows you to be sure that you're protected against a potential disaster. All of the DR solutions at TierPoint include annual testing hours to ensure that the environment is properly protected. Our cloud-based recovery solution powered by Zerto includes 72 hours of annual testing, and additional testing can be added if required. After testing, you'll receive an attestation of the test that can be provided to your auditors as proof of a successful test. As we just mentioned, TierPoint offers DR solutions on a number of different environments. We can utilize one of our 8 multi-tenant cloud pods spread across the United States, a hosted private cloud target, or we can utilize AWS or Azure as the DR target. During the engagement with TierPoint, we will work with you to ensure that the best solution is being chosen for your particular environment and the business requirements of your company. We strive to partner with our customers to achieve their desired results of their disaster recovery programs. We take the time in the pre-sales process to understand the business needs of our customers and ensure that the solution is delivering upon those requirements. We're going to dig into the details of the environment to ensure that we're covering all aspects of the recovery, including employee access, how customers and partners are accessing the environment, and any security requirements that are often overlooked in disaster recovery solutions. All of these details are going to be incorporated into the overall design and included in the customer's disaster recovery runbook. As mentioned previously, we can also provide consulting services if companies require a business impact analysis, disaster recovery assessment, and business continuity and disaster recovery strategies. We even have options for business continuity DR seats within many of our data centers that provide a location for your employees to work during a disaster event. Our dedicated team of DR engineers are fully focused on ensuring your DRAS environment will be fully operational if a DR event should ever occur. They are monitoring the status of the replication of your environment and validating the status of your runbook, ensuring that the solution will work as planned. If you'd like to learn more about how TierPoint Disaster Recovery as a Service with Zerto and how we can help enhance your disaster recovery profile, you can visit us on the web at www.tierpoint.com. You'll be able to review our products and services, and we'll be able to chat with one of our solutions advisors online. You can also call us at 877-859-8437. When you reach out, one of our DR experts will reach out to you to discuss your company's business requirements for a disaster recovery solution. They'll discuss the different services we can provide and offer, share industry trends that they are seeing across TierPoint, and they'll also work with you to set up next steps to ensure that we can help you achieve your goals. And from both Sarah and I, we both want to thank you for your time today. We hope this was informative to you and hope everyone has a great day. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you guys. And I'm so excited to dive into some questions here because holy, we have so many questions coming in. Boy, did everyone have their coffee today. Before we get into the audience questions, though, I do want to point out that we have a poll up on the screen for you. And what we're wondering is what additional information you would like to get about the TierPoint and Zerto solution. So obviously, lots of great information here. Bob and Sarah have just given us such an incredible overview. And we have Bob, Sarah, and Anthony here with us now to dig into some questions. But even with all of that, you're just not going to be able to remember everything that we've heard today as much as we might want to. So this is a great way to make sure that you can get those memory jogs, get that follow-up, get that conversation rolling, click on the poll, and then you'll get the information that you need handed right to you. So this is the easy button for your day today. Okay, well, while you're doing that, we are going to jump into some questions. Bob, Sarah, Anthony, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Ready? Yep.
I like it. With enthusiasm, we are ready to rock. Let's start with this one here because we had a few different variations of this question. And Sarah, you mentioned a differentiator in your chat, but the audience would really like to know if you could give us a little bit more insight into what makes you guys stand out. What makes Zerto DR sort of unique? That's the word I'm looking for.
Hey, this is
Anthony,
Bob. Yeah, Anthony, you want to take that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely what makes Zerto unique is that we are much different than, let's say, like a backup technology or anything else out there from a disaster recovery standpoint, because we are a disaster recovery solution. So what makes Zerto unique is the fact that we are, of course, operating only at the hypervisor level. We're software only. We give you that journaling capability so you can roll back from a disaster. I like to say almost like a DVR. So it's very much more operationally efficient to come back online. The way we protect things, move things, and natively use the tools that we have available to be doing what we've been doing for 10 plus years and able to integrate with partners like TierPoint is what really makes Zerto special and unique.
Awesome. Okay. All right. I'm going to get into another one that we got in a few different variations, and I'll pull this one out from Pamela, but there was a few folks wondering about it. What different databases does Zerto support for DR? Does it support all databases and data stores from cloud providers like Azure, AWS? And are there any that would not be supported?
Yeah. So that's a hard question. So any sort of platform as a service, if you're running Cosmo DB in AWS, more specifically like DynamoDB, no, Zerto doesn't protect any sort of that stuff. If you're on premise and you're running VMs that are a SQL Server or Cassandra database, anything along those lines, Zerto is able to protect with CDP. We're able to replicate that, whether that's on premise or to those public cloud providers like AWS or Azure, or I've been answering in the chat to some of the other ones that we have available to us. So really the question is, it depends. If it is like a software as a service or something that's hosted in the cloud, most likely not. But if it's on premise and like a specific database that you're used to running yourself and managing, then yes, Zerto very much protects it.
Okay. Question here coming in from Patrick. While doing recovery, does Zerto, to your point, respect the security settings around the data? So for example, each user account will continue to have the same permissions as before the recovery, and wondering, and this compliance comes up a lot. So any potential, HIPAA breaches consideration there. And then also he says, thank you in advance for your answer.
Yeah, no worries. I guess from I'll leave the TierPoint side to, I'm going to assume that everything is compliant in terms of, the infrastructure they manage to you recovering into, to the data itself, right? Zerto isn't concerned about the access of the machine itself. We just bring the machine up online in a state that is useful. And then from that point on, you go in there and reconfigure maybe access or maybe connection back to a DNS server at the secondary site. So Zerto is non-intrusive to all of those things that matter. We just focus on replicating the data and making sure that it comes back online for you.
Bob or Sarah, anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just add, in addition to what Anthony just said there, TierPoint's not doing anything with the permissions. We're taking the data
Right.
that's being replicated by Zerto, and we're providing the target for the recovery, and we're helping you manage that recovery to get those VMs back up and operational for you. So any permissions that you have will follow. We'll typically work with you on an Active Directory replication solution. We can either use native replication or Zerto replicated. So none of that's going to be affected by the solution.
Okay. We're getting pretty close to the end of time here. I do want to say you guys are getting a lot of high fives from the audience and some thank yous on the answers to the questions as well. So there's a lot of engagement here, and I'm hoping maybe we can convince you guys to stick around on live chat for a little bit, because that questions folder is full. But let's wrap up with something short here. Would you consider backups as part of the disaster recovery solution?
Yeah, I'll just start off. They can definitely be part of a backup or a recovery solution. It's really going to be dependent on the RTOs and RPOs that will be, found from a business impact analysis. If you have systems that have a longer RTO, RPO requirement that can be down longer, then backups can definitely be a part of the overall solution. But for your critical VMs, the ones that need to be up, the ones that are really mission critical to your business, we're going to want to look at something with Zerto to get those applications back up as quickly as possible with as little data loss as possible. So, Anthony, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
No, I think that was perfect. And again, why it's important to work with somebody like from TierPoint is because you are able to do that impact analysis, really define which DR strategy is best, and really gives you a more comprehensive look of everything. So great answer there.
All right. Well, we are going to have to leave it there, which is very unfortunate because this has been so informative. And I know the audience is really getting a lot out of it, as am I. Before you guys run away from us, though, if somebody does want to jump in, get started, and get rolling with this solution, what would you recommend as a first step?
I was going to let TierPoint go first, but I will. Do the hands-on labs, everybody. So if you go Zerto, the hands-on labs in Google, take a look at those, get dirty, down and dirty with the labs. I'm the guy who runs them, so feel free to come yell at me if there's any problems. But obviously, if you have some TierPoint questions, we'll kick it over to them.
Yeah, and for TierPoint, you can reach out to us on the web. We also have our phone number that was available in the presentation. You can reach out to us. We'll sit down. We'll work with you. We'll come up with the solution for your environment, utilizing Zerto, getting those very low RTOs and RPOs to ensure that your data is going to be available for recovery.
That's awesome. We got a shout out from Dan saying the labs are great. And I also did see a couple questions coming in wondering about getting some help beyond just implementation, but also with sort of strategy and approach. So Bob, I think that's a really important service that you guys are offering to people out there. So I think that's very appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. We're willing to work with, the customers with their overall solution. If there's things outside of, Zerto, if there's any type of IBM legacy solutions, things like that, we can really provide a full soup to nuts solution for the disaster recovery.
Awesome. All right. Well, the kudos are pouring in from the crowd here, so I'll let you guys bask in that for a moment. And to everyone out there who asked a question that we did not get to, again, a reminder that we'll answer as many as we can over live chat today. And then any questions that don't get answered, we will make sure get sent to TierPoint and Zerto, so you will get follow-up. So keep those questions coming in. We want to make sure that you get those answers. And to our whole crew here with us today, Sarah, Bob, Anthony, thank you so much. What an incredible presentation and a discussion. This has been a genuine pleasure. I really appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
All right. And to all of you out there, please keep those poll responses coming, and please do keep the questions coming in. I have to say, we talk about this all the time, but the fun and the discussion, you guys keep saying thank you to the speakers. And that discussion is only possible with all of the questions that you're asking. So I have to flip all the thanks and high fives back to you guys. Asking great questions and being engaged in the conversation is what allows our speakers to get excited and get interested and really engage back in that conversation. So high fives all around to everyone on the MegaCast today. We are all smiles over here. And speaking of smiles, I'm going to get into a prize giveaway in just a second, but I do also want to remind you all to head over to the handouts tab, click on that TierPoint Zerto link. Make sure you've got the fact sheet from TierPoint, cloud to cloud recovery, disaster recovery as a service. So this is a great way to talk about resilience and looking at automation being part of your disaster recovery, especially when you're looking at diverse environments. That came up a lot today. I saw a lot of questions coming in about those diverse environments. So this is a fact sheet that you're going to want to have. So make sure you head on over, snag that fact sheet, download that, save that for after we wrap today, because I promise you're going to want to dig back into that. Okay, I said prize giveaway, and so let's do that. I am going to do a $300 Amazon gift card as well as one of those new iPad Pros. I will remind you again that you do need to be here live and present at the MegaCast in order to win. So if your buddy's not on the MegaCast, call them right now and tell them to get on. All right, let's do a gift card to start. This is a $300 Amazon gift card going to Brian Favreau of Maine. Brian Favreau of Maine, congratulations on your $300 Amazon gift card. And then we have one of the new iPad Pros going to Nick Zeppa of Washington. Nick Zeppa of Washington, congratulations to you both. We will follow up about claiming your prizes after we wrap up. Now, don't forget, there's another chance to win and the best question gift card from each session. That's a $50 Amazon gift card going to the best question asked in each one of our sessions. Believe me, the competition is fierce today. It's going to be very hard to pick, but keep those questions coming in. All right. Well, we are going to keep things rolling right along in our MegaCast today. And don't worry, the good times are still coming. But now this is sort of a good news, bad news situation, because our MegaCast today is short and sweet, but boy, is it packed with info. And as you can see, we are here at our grand finale, our final expert presenter, and we are definitely wrapping up on a high note because we get to chat with Jamie McNeil, major sales engineer from Rubrik. Jamie, thank you so much for being here with us to close out this MegaCast. You're the final act, bringing us on home, and I know you've got some great info in store for us. We're going to do some questions at the end. We got lots of good stuff to do. So Jamie, take it away.
Man, what an intro. I gotta really deliver here to keep the energy going. So
I believe in you, Jamie.
Best.
You got this.
I'm glad you do. Thank you. Good to have a believer out there. Good afternoon, good morning to everybody who's in attendance today. I am Jamie McNeil, a major sales engineer here at Rubrik. I've been with Rubrik I'm in my 6th year. So really have watched the company grow over my tenure here. And I think one of the things that's always really stood out for me is a lot of focus from day one from the company on securing your last line of recovery. Really, God forbid you should ever have a cyber incident. So today I'm going to take everyone through an overview and introduction to Rubrik. Going to talk about this slide here and why this is important. So something we say quite frequently here at Rubrik is backup and recovery is not the same as cyber recovery. The two are very different. If we look around us every day and all the news and the headlines, a lot of companies are going through cyber incidents, and they all have backup, but they all struggle with recovering. They don't have that cyber recovery component. So this is really the problem statement that Rubrik's helped to solve. And I don't need to come in here and tell you guys, hey, businesses are on attack and throw a bunch of scare headlines out there, because as technologists, we see this stuff every single day. But really what's happening is we see the bad guys getting through these multiple layers of protection we put in our environment. And it's only on a 0.06% chance they may get through on a 0-day attack, or maybe they social engineer their way into your environment. And if they get through and they get your data, they got you. The problem gets compounded because now they're going after your backup technology as well. And if they can get the copy of the backup data and encrypt that or take that offline and your primary data, you're more likely to be in a situation where you have to pay the ransom. So the first thing you got to ask yourself is my data an easy target? Because if we think about it on the left-hand side of the screen, these legacy approaches to protecting data were not really designed for an adversary who's behind the firewall. things we really got to focus on and ask ourselves are 100% of my backups immutable? And I'll even tell you, that's just one piece of the pie, right? We're going to talk through like multiple layers of things we got to protect ourselves from, but day one stuff, are our backups immutable? Next, is my backup architecture physically isolated from the environment it's protecting? Or is it riding on the same infrastructure? Furthermore, is this running within a virtual machine? So is my backup architecture running on the environment it's protecting, and is it virtualized? The reason these are important is if you look today at a majority of the attacks that occur, 60% end up being VM level encryption attacks. So the attacker comes in, find the virtual environment. They know a majority of environments are virtualized. They come in, they run their attack at the data store level, encrypt the data right underneath the whole environment. Allows them to strike quickly, be very impactful. And if you think about it, if that backup architecture is now running within that same environment, it's now gone. It's now unavailable. And now I've got to spend the next probably 24 plus hours trying to recover that environment to see if I can even restore my data. Is anything running Windows that's part of my data protection infrastructure? Same type of thing we're looking at it in the virtual side. Attackers know Windows is a commonly used operating system in the enterprise, so it's a common attack vector. Rubrik's a big Microsoft partner, got a great partnership, not bashing Microsoft at all. This is just the reality. It's a commonly used operating system, commonly used attack vector. Last is MFA and retention lock enforced. So we can have immutable backups. That's a wonderful thing. I can make sure the attacker can't go in and delete or encrypt the backup data. I got one problem solved. How do I keep the attacker from coming in, logging into my backup solution, and going into the core of what backup does? Retains your backups. So an attacker, if I come in and roll back off your retention to 1 day, then go ahead and launch my attack, and I let those retentions fall off, I'm now in trouble. So if you're not prepared, you're most likely going to have nothing to recover here if we don't have these questions answered. Now the problem compounds, because if you think about it, we're not just in a data center anymore. Stuff's living either in another cloud, public cloud, or amongst multiple public clouds. In my role here at Rubrik, I deal with customers that typically have at least 2 public clouds. So now they've got their private cloud that they manage, multiple public clouds, and this problem only gets compounded. And this leads to new questions. Because if you think about it, in traditional backup, somebody would delete a file, call the help desk and say, hey, I blew away an Excel spreadsheet. Cool, let me go find it, I'll locate it, restore it for you. Times have changed. Attacker comes in the environment, goes in, launches an attack. Now you got to try and figure out, what do I need to recover? What information was impacted by the attacker? What information is still good? And really kind of boil it down to what data do I need to recover to minimize the impact to my business? Was there any sensitive data in scope? Almost every single one of these attacks now is is an extortion attempt, right? They're going to extort you. They want to say, hey, I got in your environment, I found all your customers' information, I have a bunch of PII. I'm going to release it to the dark web unless you pay me $100 million. Insert your Dr. Evil F. And then how do I ensure that I don't restore the malware? Median dwell time in an environment today for an attacker is 3 to 5 days in the United States. So that person's been in the environment pretty much putting in their attack mechanism for the past 3 to 5 days. How do I not relaunch that attack on recovery? Because if you think about it, that person's been in there and they planted that trap 3 to 5 days ago, and I say, oh, I got hit last night, I need to restore my data that's all encrypted. I go to the prior day. How do I know I'm not going to trigger and launch the attack again? And this is now a board and C-suite priority. I deal with this pretty regularly when talking to prospects. This is at that level of the organization where this group wants to know, are we good? Are we protected from these sort of attacks? Are we able to recover if we get hit? Can we prove it? And how long will it take? So let me introduce you to Rubrik Security Cloud. So Rubrik Security Cloud is a true SaaS-based single pane of glass that's built and really focuses on these 4 areas or these 4 silos: data protection, data threat analytics, data security posture, and cyber recovery, all wrapped in a zero trust design. Let's talk a little bit more about how it works. So as mentioned, we start with this SaaS-based control plane that is truly one place to go to manage all things Rubrik, no matter what we're doing. Everything's based on APIs, so we integrate very well with any of your existing automation tool sets. Anything you can do in the Rubrik Security Cloud UI, you can completely 100% automate. We have a number of SDKs out there as well that can be consumed and used and plug into existing tools and automation and workflow engines. Think of ServiceNow, things of that nature. We establish a time series and metadata with everything we do. So if you think about it, the heart of Rubrik is backup. We're backing your data up every single day. So we see the data and we are able to identify and pull the metadata from it. It's really what I kind of use as an example for Rubrik Security Cloud with my customers is this is a big metadata lake that we're doing a bunch of analysis around this metadata. Because the data is going to tell us a story. And how we view that story depends on the things we're trying to do with the metadata, which I'm going to get into in 1 second. Next, we apply immutable air gap to everything we protect, period. We never expose our file system on the network using legacy storage protocols, for example, NFS or SMB. When we write data, we write it in a way it's immutable. It's just on by default. You can't shut it off. It's just how we write things in our file system. It's how it was built, scratch-built file system. Next, we air gap that data because we never put it on the network. Everything that we're doing as far as pulling data in the environment is using secure RPC and initiating the traffic that way. Then our silos, we have data protection. These are the 4 areas my customers are typically coming to me with problems. Talking about enterprise data protection, petabytes and billions of unstructured data they need protected that they're struggling with today. SaaS data protection. Think of 365, your email, your OneDrive, your Teams, your SharePoint. And last but never least, cloud data protection. So Rubrik's really focused on building a simpler to use, more economical way, and we consolidate a lot of the traditional legacy architectural components of data protection and make a better, faster, cheaper, easier backup. Next, we talked about that metadata thing, data threat analytics. So based on being able to back up your stuff every single day, within 15 minutes of backing a workload up, I'm going to run anomaly detection against it. I'm going to take a look at the data and I'm going to see how it typically behaves day after day. If I see a change in how the change rate of that workload has grown versus what it normally does, I'm going to flag an anomaly. Now, anyone that's ever just used an anomaly detection tool in the room might be laughing and saying, oh, it's great. It's a bunch of white noise because users do anomalous things every single day. Let's just be honest. Rubrik takes things a step further. We'll actually do a second level scan on the data once we identify the anomaly, or as we would classify it as a warning. We'll actually look at things like entropy and use AI to understand if the data now is essentially structured in a way it's been hit with a ransomware encryption attack. Now, earlier I mentioned to you, 60% of the attacks are usually virtual VMware level attacks where they go after the data store. 60% of the attacks. 40% are in-guest, essentially, where in-guest encryption occurs on the workload. So the workload's still surviving, the operating system's there, the attacker's encrypted all the data. So how do I solve between those two equations? Rubrik does both. So we'll identify either an in-guest encryption attack, or we'll identify this as a VM level attack, and we'll provide you with a clear blast radius into everything that was impacted. Next, focus on threat hunting. So how do we prevent ourselves from being reinfected? Rubrik will show you, hey, here's the blast radius, here's what was hit, here's the last good point in time before the data was impacted based on your RPOs. How do I make sure I don't reinfect myself? So Rubrik has the ability to threat hunt your data using built-in scanners. This runs on all nodes within our WebScale cluster at scale. We can actually scan your backups off the backup infrastructure and look for indicators of compromise you provide us, whether they be IOCs, using AR rules, or file hashes. We'll scan the backups. We will look for those, which an IOC is going to tell us if this is an attack fingerprint. And if we see that dormant ransomware sitting there from the attack, we'll point it out to you and you can quarantine that off so you don't restore and reinfect yourself. Next is threat monitoring, more of a proactive tool. Rubrik now has the ability to do this again As backups run, we will actually take threat feeds from Rubrik Zero Labs and third-party security firms as well that provide file hashes and YAR rules. We'll run just as part of looking at your backup data. If we see anything that matches these IOC or file hashes, we will alert you, and then you can go through the proper quarantining process to stop, make sure if I have to go through a recovery exercise, I don't reinfect myself there. And then I'm more proactive now. I can see the attacker might be in my environment, dropping the payload. Next is data security posture. So if we look at, again, Rubrik seeing all the data every single day and indexing it, we can actually apply analyzers. We have up to 60 plus analyzers predefined for you. PII data, PCI data, any sort of HIPAA data. We can actually go and look for that within the data we're protecting anyway, because we're going to back up all your data. We'll actually identify that in the environment and even point you to any sort of high risk open access data. Maybe there's a bunch of PII data in a user share and everyone has access to it. We'll surface that for you and show you. And user access analysis. If an attacker gets in the environment, they typically gain access and move laterally. So if Rubrik has this insight into sensitive data and can align this with which users have access to which data, we can now see if users are gaining, a user account's gaining access to more critical data in the environment than it's supposed to have. Now we can proactively look at that user, and again, maybe that's a threat actor moving through my environment. Last, cyber recovery. None of this means anything if I can't recover. Backup's a great thing. I had a customer tell me the other day, he's like, hey, need a new backup solution, but I don't care about the backup component. I just need to be able to restore my stuff. It's usually an afterthought in legacy platforms. So Rubrik's focused on providing not only traditional backup and recovery, but cyber recovery, just as we talked at the beginning of the intro. So we focus on threat containment. So these pieces we saw under data threat analytics and data security posture, we can bring all those together in one single view. And we can blueprint our recovery process for our applications. And when we run through that blueprinted recovery, we can actually pick and choose the RPOs based on the feeds we got from anomaly detection and our threat hunting. You can actually see, hey, you know what? The attacker established persistence on this system and it had been there 3 to 5 days. But the remaining 50 systems that were hit or 100 systems that were impacted were merely victims of the attack. So now I can say those victims I threat hunted, I know there's no sort of dormant ransomware, I can roll those back to the prior RPO. And now the system that they launched the attack and established persistence on, I might have to go back 3 to 5 days. I'm now minimalizing the impact to my RPO by being able to surgically recover things based on what the solution has told me is a clean copy. This provides disaster recovery too for natural disasters, failover between data centers, failover from on-prem into cloud, along with any sort of cyber recovery simulation. Because what good is any of this if you can't test it? So this is completely postured for you to test it at any point in time non-disruptively to your production environment. Benefits, 100% recovery, guaranteed ability to recover your data. We'll bulletproof your data and provide you the tools to give you visibility to recover without reinfecting yourself or causing additional downtime to the business. One single interface, true and blue. That's what you have. One place to go to protect all your data, no matter where it lives. Rubrik runs on what's called a service level agreement or an SLA policy. That SLA policy can protect anything within the on-prem, cloud, or SaaS environment. We typically consolidate, repurpose existing spend. A lot of legacy architectures have lots of components, pieces, and parts. We typically can help customers identify a positive TCO there and get more benefit out of their solution and cyber recovery capabilities by moving to Rubrik. Proven resilience, everything can be tested. So reduces risk, and you can build that muscle memory of, if this ever occurs in my environment, I know I can recover and I know how long it's going to take me. And high data visibility. Think about the analytics you're getting out of the system where it's constantly watching the data. It's looking for these encryption attacks. And then maybe we're proactively identifying any threats that are being injected into your environment. Over 5,000 customers, 100% have recovered. So Rubrik's had over 150 customers go through cyber events, 100% of them will recover with Rubrik. And that gives us the confidence here to offer customers up to a $10 million ransomware recovery warranty. Can't recover from Rubrik to a ransomware attack, we'll pay up to a $10 million warranty. We're not in the business of paying warranties. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in business. All this is supported by our ransomware response team. We have a team of individuals that's focused on dealing with these sort of incidents and helping you along the way. They're there with you from day one to the day you tell us to go away. Rubrik Zero Labs is our internal organization that's focused on coming up with innovative technologies and approaches to address this problem. Constantly innovating and bringing new technology that is available for you to consume. And then our zero trust architecture, because that's the root of it, making sure that the data is unable to be disturbed or manipulated by a threat actor. That's all I had for today. I appreciate you taking the time with me. Thank you very much. Everyone has a great day.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jamie. You definitely did not disappoint. Lots of great information, so many wonderful takeaways, and our audience is loving it. We have so many questions coming in. I'm going to have to sort through them all, but before we jump into that, I'm just going to throw up this poll question for all of you folks out there that are asking these great questions. This is another great way to make sure that you're getting the information that you need in follow-up. So click on that poll. What additional information would you like to get about the Rubrik solution? So as I said, lots of questions in that file, and we're going to get to as many as we can, and we just won't hit them all. So another great way to make sure that you get the follow-ups that you need that are important to you and your organization, whether that's case studies, pricing info, demos, whatever it is that you want to know, click on that poll there, and then Rubrik will make sure that it lands just nicely and effortlessly in your email inbox. This is so easy. So this is a great homework assignment for all of you. You click on the poll, and Jamie and I are going to get into some questions. Jamie, are you ready?
I'm going to do my best. I think so.
I like that confidence. We're going to take that as a yes. All right, so I'm going to start with this one here from Jeremy. Does it integrate into SIM systems?
Does it integrate into SIM systems? It's a great question. A lot of customers do come to us with that because we're giving all this information through Rubrik Security Cloud. But yes, we absolutely do. We have some pre-integrations built with some of the common players in the market. We support webhooks as well to feed those SIM and source systems with all that information that's coming out of Rubrik as to if there was an attack, what was impacted, and what files and data and sensitive data was involved. So we absolutely can feed that into your existing SIM or source solution.
Awesome. Okay. This one, I'm kind of combining a bunch of different questions that we got that were all related to the same topic, and that is air gapping. So two kind of main points here. One, wondering if you can just walk us through how Rubrik utilizes air gapping, and then really in particular digging into how that air gapping, the backup storage from the LAN, is going to help ensure that an attacker can't access the backup data, because that comes up a lot, is wondering, okay, great, but now how do we protect what we've protected? How do we protect what we've backed up?
Absolutely. So if you look at us as a whole, Rubrik's built essentially where the file system has been constructed in a way it does not ever touch the network using storage protocols. You can't separate our backup software from the backup storage, right? So you can't just write data to us. So those storage protocols are never exposed. All data that's pulled into the cluster when we do backups is using secure RPC. So we're initiating we're initiating the connection and pulling the data in securely into the cluster. The file system has also been built in an append-only format. So we append the data on incrementally forever. That's the way we work. So even if somebody could get in and try and mess with the data, it's written immutably. Like you can't shut that off or turn it on. It's just how we write the data. So no one can change it anyway. And then the file system's built in an append-only file system.
Perfect. Okay. We got a few questions in, and I'll pick on Marsha asked this in a few different ways, kind of wondering about the staffing needs and whether or not this could help, for smaller teams that don't have these full cadres of IT professionals available. And so wondering, are there requirements that Rubrik would have in terms of endpoint agents, especially when you're looking at threat hunting? And then, if that isn't a requirement, is this going to potentially help reduce some of the pressures on these smaller IT teams?
That's a good question. So we typically, based on how we can consolidate everything through Rubrik Security Cloud, only have one place to go and not have 50 different consoles to access, and really one simple way of protecting things. We typically reduce administrative overhead against traditional legacy technologies by up to 90% in day-to-day administration. Everything I showed you guys today, as far as talked through today around threat hunting and ransomware detection and sensitive data discovery, is all agentless. There's no agents required because we back the data up. We have it sitting on our system, and we're able to basically index it and sift through and find all that information. So there's no endpoint agents. There's no infrastructure for you to deploy and manage to enable that functionality. It's all built into the product. It's software that just is turned on through an enablement key.
That's awesome. And we did get, I'm trying to send responses back to people who have sent you high fives. You're getting a lot of thank yous for the presentation. We also got a few questions that I think you just hit on, wondering about, having that single pane of glass, that single source to go to. And for anyone that hasn't actually seen a Rubrik demo of the user experience of the dashboard, every time we have one of your team members on, Jamie, doing a presentation where we get into a demo, some people are making comments about how beautiful it is and how easy it is to walk. It is a really well-designed dashboard. And I know that could seem silly. I mean, to a certain extent, who cares what it looks like, but it's about making it easy and user-friendly, and about having, kind of what you said, that muscle memory of knowing what to do when something happens, which is only possible if you have all that data at your fingertips. So I'm sort of answering that for you, but I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that single pane of glass question.
No, you hit on it very well. It's easy on the eyes, but it's really meant to allow customers to quickly adapt to the product and use it. Once, I always tell customers, as we bring them on board, once you learn how to work through one area of Rubrik or protecting something, the rest follows. It's a very similar rinse, wash, repeat process. So you're not having to learn, hey, when I want to protect a virtual machine versus a SQL database versus DB2 databases versus Oracle, I got to go relearn something else. It's not complex at all. It's the same exact process of applying an SLA, and off you go, right? It's super simple to work with. And then recovery is the same. The recovery options are similar between each workload with the process in which you go through recovery. So meant to be easy, not meant for you to go take 4 weeks of training to learn how to use a thing. It's not complex that way. We don't want to put you through that.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the requirement. I wish we could keep going with this, Jamie, because we have so many questions. And normally I'd say, well, stick around on live chat. But since we're about to wrap up the MegaCast, what I'll say instead is that I think we're going to try to get all of these questions over, or not try to, we will get all of these questions over to the Rubrik team right away. So Jamie, you and your team will be able to follow up with all of these folks who have really wonderful questions coming in. The final question that came in from a few of our folks, including Ned, just asked this, and Ned, you know the drill. You took the words right out of my mouth. If someone wants to get started with Rubrik, Jamie, what do they do? What's the first step?
Reach out to your sales team, right? Let us know you're interested. We have lots of partners out in the field we work with. Let your partner know you're interested in looking at Rubrik. We have the ability to get you hands-on with the product through hands-on labs. SEs like myself can get those provisioned for you. Honestly, the best way to kind of experience the product, you can check it out. We do a number of pop-up Rubrik virtual labs throughout the world, to be honest with you. So always ask your account team if any of those are going on. But yeah, reach out to your account team. We'd love to meet with you, talk to you, take you through the platform, and kind of show you where we can help.
Well, this has been such a pleasure, Jamie. Thank you so much for that. And again, lots of great feedback coming in from the audience. I do want to say one that just came in that I think is really cool is Mike saying that he had seen Rubrik before and was really impressed with it, but appreciated the reminder and is hoping to bring this into his environment in the future. So I think, this is just such a great example of why we have these conversations, right? There's so much to think about and remember and so many great solutions. And it's so cool to be able to dig in with an expert like yourself, Jamie, and really see how a solution might fit our organization. So I want to make sure I pass on that thank you to you, and appreciate your time today.
You got it. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
All right. And to everyone out there who is clicking on the poll, keep those answers coming in. This is another great way to make sure that you get the follow-up that you're looking for from Rubrik. Also, head on over to the handouts tab. Be sure that you've got that Rubrik handout, Rubrik Security Cloud. Again, explaining that resiliency, how you can continuously monitor those data risks. And best of all, recover applications quickly. This is a really important takeaway. Obviously, things that are top of mind for all of you out there, and a wonderful way to follow up on everything that we just talked about with Jamie. So be sure you've got that handout before we wrap up today. Folks, I have to tell you, I feel like I tell you all how wonderful you are regularly, and I always mean it. You're always wonderful. But today has been so much fun. My colleagues and I, who are behind the scenes making sure everything runs smoothly, keep messaging back and forth and saying, look at all these questions and look at all this great engagement. And it's just been so much fun. And that really, really is impactful and brings up the entire energy of our MegaCast for all of us. I hope that you've all been feeling that today, that excitement, that sort of electricity in the air around these topics and questions and discussions that we've gotten to have. Boy, it's just been a blast. So I really do want to extend a heartfelt thank you to all of you for that. And please be sure that you're clicking on the polls. You've got those handouts. I will give away a last prize. I'll stop talking now and I'll give you a prize. I said I would, and I will. All right. So our final prize giveaway, and then I will read the entire winners list. We have another $300 Amazon gift card, and then we will give away 2 of those new iPad Pros. So $300 gift card to someone here live and present at the MegaCast. And that someone is Tim Louie of Oregon. Tim Louie of Oregon. And our final winners here of the iPad Pros, Richard Romeo of Texas and Chad Harvey of Indiana. Richard Romeo of Texas and Chad Harvey of Indiana. So our full winners list today, a $300 Amazon gift card going to Brian Favreau of Maine and to Tim Louie of Oregon. And then our 3 iPad Pros going to Nick Zeppa of Washington, Richard Romeo of Texas, and Chad Harvey of Indiana. What a crew, what an awesome list of prizes. And with that, we're going to start bringing things on to a close here. So I would like to remind all of you that if you're sitting out there and thinking that your organization might have a story you'd like to tell on one of these EcoCasts or MegaCasts, we would absolutely love to help make that happen. So shoot us an email, let us know, and we'll get the conversation going. That's connect@actualtechmedia.com. Speaking of the entire Actual Tech Media team, on behalf of our crew here, I want to once again thank our wonderful speakers. Boy, did we have an all-star lineup today from Tierpoint, Zerto, and Rubrik. You all made this MegaCast possible. And of course, as I said earlier, that goes double for all of you out there in the audience today. Those of you asking questions, getting involved. And hey, if you didn't ask a question, I'm still sending you a high five, because being here and being a part of this conversation, even if you weren't, you didn't feel the need to type in a question in the box, you're part of the conversation, and our days are busy and life is full and there's a lot to think about. And the fact that you all took time out of your day to come and spend it with us means a lot. And it's why we can keep doing these incredible hosting these incredible conversations. So please keep coming. Please keep those questions when you feel moved to do so. Click on those polls, click on those handouts. It's all great. And it all brings up the fun, the enjoyment, the energy, and most of all, the learning that we can all get from each other. These data protection and DR systems and processes that we were talking about today. I think for a lot of people, there might be things that you didn't know that maybe you were exposed. Maybe you knew and didn't know how to solve it. Or maybe you're just walking away with a beautiful, serene sense of calm because you checked every box and know that you've done everything right. And if that is the case, kudos to you. Kudos, kudos, kudos. But I think for most of us, it's a little bit more in the columns of, hey, these are cool things that we could implement and changes that we could make in our organization. And that is really exciting. So I hope that is where you're walking away today. And most of all, I hope you had a good time. I hope you had fun. I know I had fun with you guys. And I really want to remind you to come back and join us for the Expert Series on Friday, October 6th. That's not tomorrow. Nope, that's 2 days from now. It's Wednesday. I know what day it is. Yep, I'm with it. Friday, October 6th at noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific, we will be talking about complete ransomware readiness. This is such a great follow-up to the conversation we had today. We were really zoomed in on data protection. Now we're just going to talk about ransomware as a whole. Just talk about ransomware. It's a huge topic. We're going to talk about ransomware as a whole. So come join us. Come learn about that complete ransomware readiness protection. Friday, October 6th, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Well, to all of you out there, I will leave it there, let you go on about your days. But once again, have to say a giant thank you to all of you and for joining us here. I'm still seeing the wonderful high fives and hellos, and that makes me so happy that you all got something out of your day with us today. And I want to once again thank you for taking that time. Oh, I just clicked on Con sent me a YouTube link that I clicked on when I was announcing the prizes, and it was just Donkey jumping up and down saying, "Oh, pick me." Con, hopefully my fingers are crossed for you next time. Thank you for that wonderful YouTube link that I opened live in a MegaCast. Anyways, all right, well, I'll let you all go on about your day. Thanks again, and I hope you all have a beautiful end to your afternoon.